Hey, what's going on? Could use a little more light. It's kind of gloomy out there. Too much. Kind of gloomy out there. Yeah, I don't have as big a room as Rick Beato. His room is big. I get the feeling it's the basement of his house. I don't know why I think that. Maybe a separate building, it may be. But if I talk to him again, I'll have to ask him. I mean, it would make sense he has his own building. He did produce it a long time. I'm talking about Rick Beato. It would be a big write-off. Can't really play this chord here. But this is the D form moved up to the third, up 3 frets. So we're D sharp or E flat, E, and F. Somebody say something. Well, I see 7 people watching. Kind of. 2 likes already. I would withhold my like until I knew if I really liked it. You might be assuming something. Hey, Steve Berry. Where did I have that jam? Okay, save this. I think I put it in one of the songwriting ones. Let's see. Pop. Yeah, probably there. Let me just see if I can find that, because remember the jam we did last week. Cats of Sherman, howdy, how's it going? You're new, or is that a new handle? But welcome. Hopefully you'll find the community at large enjoyable. Happy November to you too, Holly. Hey, Bob, AJ. Oh, Holly, let me drag these. Where's Tom's? Well, once I have all the diagrams up, I'll drag them over there to Tom's PDF thing. Where's that? There we go. Just so everybody can have them. Or Holly, if you so desire, you can make a PDF of that. Oh yeah, just a few blocks away. You can't even leave your house on David, can you? That's crazy. All right, so that was weird. Oh, see, I hate it when I do that. Feedback. I had the mic enabled, and let's see. I don't see the. Oh wait, is that the jam right there? This must be the jam. Yeah. Okay. So, I changed the drum set. Let me put the drum set back to where it was. Oh my gosh, the computer's running so slow. I need to get a new iMac, but the iMac Pros aren't coming out till next year, so it's like, dang. And I'll just do this. No. Where's the, is it the roots? That's kind of weird. I don't know. Yeah, where's the brush one? Which one is called brush? No, it's a Blue Ridge. Oh, maybe it's Blue Ridge. It's got to load. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with that. Let me get rid of that. What the heck is this? Oh, I see what I did. Okay. All right. Well, that'll work. It's maybe a little fast, but this. So now I got to change the key. What key were we in last week? Oh, G. Okay, so we're going to go to F because that's what we're going to do. And I'll just do this. Here we go now. Now we're in F. Okay. So I have that now. I should have done that before. You guys, sorry. So the feedback. Yeah, your dog just went nuts. That's hilarious. Yeah, Dennis, your hearing aid. Exactly. He said, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, David, I believe that the liquor stores are open. I would need liquor to get through those meetings. Oh my gosh. I hate those kind of things. I don't care what the subject matter is. They're all boring as all get out. I used to teach clinics, and I went out of my way to make it fun for everybody. So everybody liked my clinics. I got like straight A's from all the reviews, from all the attendees. The president of the company even came up to me at the end of the third year I did it, and then I got let go. It's funny. He told me I was the best reviewed clinician of all of them, but the reason that they cut back the next year, so they cut back like half of the team, so I was on one of the teams that got cut. So let's see, what else we got going on? Well, let's see. Hey, Paul Meyer, good to see you. Happy Monday. Oh, happy anniversary. Yeah, thank you. 34 years. Yeah. Thanks, Bruce, for the homework you do there. John Y, good. You see, you're an Apple guy versus PC. Is that because Macs are better suited to music needs? Yes. Generally, it's industry standard. It has always been. In fact, it was, sadly, Apple doesn't really cater to musicians anymore. But musicians and Photoshop, people using Photoshop and Final Cut were the ones that, or using video editing software were the ones that kept Apple afloat back in the 90s. If it hadn't been for us, Apple wouldn't exist today. But also the lack of, I've never had a virus or anything like that on any of my computers, phones, or anything. I mean, I've been with Apple since the 90s. And I'm going to drop in the major pentatonic so we can all get our eyes on that, okay? And boy, for some reason, I was having a hard time creating these last night, but so there's the F major pentatonic. Looks familiar. If it looks familiar, it's pentatonic number 3, the one we love to hate. And it's actually written in position, so that's why there are no fret numbers there, okay? Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just going to add tempo. I'm going to slow this bad boy down a little bit. let me just make that piano a little bit. A little more interesting. I don't know. This may get old real fast, but I could do a longer loop. We have a visitor. So that's just an F7 chord with a 6 added. So I'm just going to play this pentatonic, the major ones. It's going to sound happy. It's going to be kind of like happy blues, right? Jam along with me if you want. If you want to make it a major blues pentatonic, major blues scale, you could add that A flat. You could do that. And that's the third. Okay, so remember if you look at the purple notes. That's the triad, okay? So that represents 50%. So you've got the third here, the fifth here, the root here, the fifth here, the root, and the third, right? We've got just triads. I'll say it again. 3, 5, root, 5, root, 3. So I only said 3 different notes. So it's A, C, F, C, F, A. And so that's just the triad. So that little chromatic run I did going from G to A, that's the third. I can also do that going into the root. It sounds really good, okay? I could do it going to the fifth. Let's listen to see what it sounds like going to the fifth, okay? But in other words, if you can find the triad tones, if you can find this shape in your key, if you're in the key of F, you know that you could do that with all of those. The other thing, and we've talked about this before, is you can do chromatic neighboring tones or diatonic neighboring tones, but chromatic neighboring tones are almost easier just because they're more complex theoretically, but they're easier to see because you're taking the triad and you're just going one note away. So here's our F, here's E, here's F sharp. So you could do that as well. All I did was I went below the fourth or below the fifth, to the fifth, above the fifth by 1 fret, and back to the fifth. Do the same thing with the root. Okay, do that with me. 5, 6, 7, 6. It has a certain connotation. I don't know, it sounds kind of ragtimey or something. Cartoony almost. The other thing you can just do outside, below and above and into it. That sounds very jazzy. Without even trying, it's a little harder with this triad shape. But if I was going up to this F triad shape, I'm just going in a straight line here. That's F. So if you play the 10th fret on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, that's the same as this, same as those 3 notes. Okay, still an F triad. So if you just find your C, you can get that kind of sound. Or you can go chromatically into each one of those notes. I mean, there's certain tricks like that just they're great to have around. So if you just feel like you're looking for something, you can build on those. E, F sharp, and F. Technically, you're playing the same notes, you're just playing them in a completely different order. But I don't know. So the best compliment I ever got on my YouTube channel was, you don't teach people about music or about guitar, you teach people how to make music. And that's exactly what. And next week we're going to start a new series. And I'm telling you, we could talk for months on this, but I'm going to, I mentioned it. I mentioned it. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I have a Mac laptop. Yeah, sorry, okay. So I mentioned what we'll talk about. I'm going to talk about songwriting. Okay, so that really is about making music. But we're going to talk about songwriting, and I think it's hugely valuable. And to be honest, we're in an economy where having content is key. And even a little bit of content can make you some money. So you just never know. But that's not necessarily the goal. The goal is to create something. All right. So we'll talk about that. It might be a little bit, next Monday might be a little, I don't want to say esoteric. It might be just a little bit more theoretical than actual practical kind of stuff. But we'll talk about everything. I'll try to talk about everything. Like, what key is the best key for your voice? And the answer is yes. So, okay. I think, John, did I kind of answer your question? You left out the major third when you're going from the F on the fourth string to the perfect fifth on the third string. You left out the third, and we go on the fourth. On this diagram here, let's see, or when I was playing, see, I was wondering if you left out the major third, A, when going from the F on the fourth string to the, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, when I did this right. Yeah, because it's positional. Remember, we're talking about CAGED method. So this is the D shape. You don't, when you play D, you don't have the F sharp. You don't have the third down here. Okay? So I didn't include it here. Okay, that would be, if we were to include that, then that would be the E shape, right? So the E shape has the third there, but the D shape does not. That's why I didn't play it. I wasn't just playing triads in order. I was playing this triad in order. Okay, so that's hopefully the answer to your question. Sorry, it's so hard when I'm trying to read it and discern what you're asking, but and also the fact that by the time I see it, it's been like 4 minutes, and I've already forgotten what I did 12 seconds ago. So, So next week we're going to start talking about songwriting, and with Discord. Oh, let me put the Discord link up here. With Discord, if you write something, and I know a bunch of you are writers already, but if you write something, you can put it up on. You can record it. Put it up on Discord, do a SoundCloud thing. You could put it up on YouTube if you want. Any of those things would all work. Okay, I'll pin this. So this is the Discord link. If you're new to the channel, you can join the Discord group. It's totally free. All the diagrams from all of my live streams, or whether they're like screen captures or PDFs, they're all up there. Okay. So basically what I was playing, again, you notice that this is pentatonic number 3, the one that kind of we hate. But we can go play. So, again, there's no academic way to play this because it's actually spread out over 5 frets and you only have 4 fingers. So you're going to have to shift at some point. So if you're going to shift, you might as well do 2 shifts. We could do 1 shift if we started with our second finger and played 2, 4, 2. I'm talking a second pinky, second pinky, second pinky, first pinky. So if we did it that way to start, you wouldn't have a position shift. Okay. The problem with that is you have less dominant fingers, your second and your pinky in particular, playing the notes. I would prefer to play it with my first and third finger and then shift down 1, 4, and then shift back up 1, 4, and then finish off with a 1, 3. Okay. And realize that down here, these notes are all below your lowest root in this particular scale. Our lowest root is right here. Right, Gary? Good morning, Gary. Oh, you mean like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was just doing one note per string too. So we're just trying to see a shape. If I put two notes on one string, John, then it would be more of an arpeggio. That's different than a shape, a chord shape. Okay, chords are different than arpeggios. Chords can sound like arpeggios, like a C chord. Same thing, but that's technically not an arpeggio because we're skipping the third. Too early in the morning. So that lowest F is right here. So that's your root. So all your happy. There's your root right there. So this is again we're dealing with major pentatonic. With major pentatonic we have 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Those are the notes. F, G, A, C, and D. Dr. Rock Productions, what is up? Hey, Catherine's in the house. Hey, good to see you. Hey, Lena's here too. Hey, Lena. The ladies are showing up. Okay. So those are all, I'm all just playing in the major pentatonic. Again, it has a happy sound. And again, if you want to kind of make it a blues, you can put that passing tone between the G and the A. And that makes it a lot more bluesy sounding. Okay? I would call that a major blues pentatonic. I'm sorry, major blues scale. Okay? We're adding one note to the major pentatonic and giving it more of a blues flavor. And the note we're adding is that A flat, which is definitely creating the blues vibe by hitting that flat 3, which is not in the triad. Okay, we've talked about that many times. Thank you, Bruce. Bruce and I had a nice chat about a week and a half ago. It's good to hear his voice. Let's see. Okay, so we can play this slowly together if you want. So we go 3rd fret, 5th fret on the bottom, then the next string 3, 5. Again, I'm using my 1st and 3rd finger. Then 3, 5 again, and go back down to here, just for musicality's sake. That's the root. Okay, you can you can find some good licks in just those 6 notes right there, that little snippet, as it were, and then that flat. If you want that blues note in the major pentatonic, it would be right there with our pinky, which is convenient. But anyway, we're not going to really. That's not in this image right here. I can't point. Wait, it's just if I get my hand really big. Screen cap. Oops, screenshot. Okay. Then we're gonna shift down and go 2, 5, and then we're gonna go back up 3, 6. So do that little bit, that little snippet. Okay, and that we're ending on a root there. I feel happy. That's not the melody, but it makes me think. What is it? No, what is it? It's all like. It's that whole musical, isn't all of West Side Story in the Lydian mode? Something tells me that maybe it's just a few songs are in Lydian, but there's a lot of Lydian in that song, in that movie. Yeah, it seems like it may be all Lydian, which would be cool. Anyway, oh, look, a squirrel. So we got this nice little. You know what that is? Even though that's kind of hard to play because of the shift. It's basically the top of pentatonic number 1. It's the same 4 notes that's on the top of pentatonic number 1. Remember when we did pentatonic number 1 here, and we got to pentatonic number 3, and we were here. We had that pentatonic number 3, which is what this is. This is basically I can't do it. My brain will not let me do this. This is basically pentatonic number 3, or it is pentatonic number 3. And so the top of the second and third string of pentatonic number 3 are the same as the top of pentatonic number 1, which is always everybody's favorite. Okay, so then we're gonna. Oh, you're in a Virginia waiting room for an eye appointment. Oh, good. Get those eyes checked out. And then the top 2 notes are just 3rd fret and 5th fret, and it ends on the 3rd. If you want that blues note, there's your root right there. Okay. So again, 3 5 3 5 3 5 2 5 3 6 3 5 5 3 6 3 5 2 5 3 5 3 5 3, and then if you want, there's the root to F, which is good to know those kind of things, because that's like, oh well, that's a super valuable note to have. You got another root now. Okay. Okay, so let me drag in the minor pentatonic, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the major to the minor to create a hybrid pentatonic. And I've made the minor pentatonic blue notes like I did before. A little bit of continuity here, but I'll tell you, it was really, for some reason, the software was acting really funny and wasn't letting me make these diagrams. I had to rejig the whole thing and start all over again. So it might look a little different than previous. I should have made these purple. Well, no, I just didn't want to confuse things. It's already confusing enough. But you'll notice that the minor pentatonic is the A flat major pentatonic, okay? So that scale right there is A flat major. If we were in A blues and we did pentatonic number 1, right? Pentatonic 2 would be right here, and it would be that C major. But that top bit of it is what Stevie Ray Vaughan would really gravitate towards often, very often. And so that's what's happening here. We've got that lick right here. See that lone straggler note that's on the 5th fret, the only note that's on the 5th fret? Hit that with play that with your 2nd finger, and then go. That's on the 3rd string, 5th fret, and then 4th fret, 6th fret, 4th fret on the top string, and then back down to the 6th fret. And there's your Stevie Ray Vaughan lick over this progression. Okay, so let's get this progression. Oh, thank you, John. God bless you. It's appreciated. Let's get this pattern down. Pick up your guitars if you don't already have them up, and put your 2nd finger on the 4th fret, bottom string, and go 4th fret, 6th fret, and here we can keep our hands in position. No shifting here. And then 3rd fret, 6th, 3rd fret, 6th, 3rd fret, 5th, and again, no shifting. We can go 4th fret, 6th, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6. However, I would shift. Okay, if I were playing an F or even an A flat, it doesn't matter. I would. I'm not going to do all those kind of licks with my pinky and my 2nd finger. I can, but it just doesn't feel as like meaty. Not needy, meaty. M-E-A-T-Y. We want our guitar licks to sound meaty. We want to get some meat on those strings. You could call it, oh, thank you, Lena. You could call it bone tone. Let's call it meat tone. It just sounds wrong. Oh, the junior high kid in me is coming out right now. But oh yeah, there you go. It does look like a little house, doesn't it? Yeah, that's the House of Blues. Yeah, I see. You're looking at it side like a House of Blues knocked over. Yeah, that's a brilliant way to think of that. And if you want to get the blues note, it's right there. So if you go up one more fret on that top string, you can get that blues note, which is the opposite. Because remember, we added the flat third to create the blues sound in the major. But we already have that flat third. We could add the major third because when we create the hybrid, it's going to naturally do that. But the blues note is that flat 5. Right there. So if you got that second finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, then when you're going down to the 3rd fret, you can hit that 4th fret on the way down, and that's your blues note there as well. Okay, I didn't write out the blues scales. That would be a whole nother set of... If we took the blues major, which is a 6-note scale, and the blues minor, the blues scale, that would also be a 6-note scale, and add those together, we still wouldn't have 12 notes, but we would have, I think, 9 notes. So we would have literally 75% of the potential notes that we can justify musically over one chord. So let me put the F jam in. Turn it down just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and forth through major and minor. All right. I'm going to play the F major pentatonic for a little bit, and I'm going to play the F minor, and I'm going to tell you when I'm changing, and then I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to tell you when I change. Okay. So here's major. And the two notes in common between the major and minor are the C and the F. So the 5th and the root. When you solo, it's kind of about finding a kind of a little cool idea and then develop it. Play it 10 times, but change it a little bit every time. Maybe you can go from, you can pluck each note to hammer. That's two different totally vibes. It's the exact same notes, two different vibes. Okay, now I'm going to go to minor. Now immediately I want to get a cigarette out. And I don't even smoke. Ah, shoot, I went to the blues note, sorry. So I'm playing the blues, the minor pentatonic. Now to the major. To minor. To major. Minor. Major. Okay, now I'm going to go back and forth between the two and see if you can hear when I go from major to minor. Okay, so just now you're going to use your ears. Also might help if you close your eyes. I know you can see where my hands are, but I want you to hear it more than see it. I could turn my back on you. Don't make me turn my back on you. Don't make me turn this guitar around. Be like,
only play an E minor that way, though. Okay. The blues note there. Okay. So turn off the jam. So basically, you can go back and forth between these two scales. We've been doing this now. This is the 5th time we've done this with all 5. This is the last shape we've done: C, A, G, E, D. So you can go back. I didn't do them in order like an idiot. No, an idiot. I did them like an idiot. If I'd done them in order, it would have been not like an idiot. So I think that's what this idiot's trying to say something, and I don't know what it is. So I didn't particularly do what we're calling hybrid scales in order of the CAGED method: C, A, G, E, D. I think I went A, and then I went C, and then G, and then I went E, D, or something like that. So let me just do one quick thing here. Where's that? Okay. Now, so now I'm going to drag, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to drag the hybrid scale in here, okay? This thing was just driving me crazy late last night. I was trying to make it, and it wouldn't let me. It just kept, like, these little circles were moving wherever they wanted to go, and I'm like, what did I do? It's like I created a tab, some kind of tab in the diagram. So I'm pretty sure this is right. I mean, I can see my anger in there. The anger got captured in the JPEG. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these. Let's see. I gotta find the. Hold on a second. Where's the purple thing? Here. Okay. I'm going to drag this over to here. So I'm dragging them to the Discord too. So these diagrams are all going to be at Discord, so you can download them. Holly, in just 1 second, I'll have all 4 of those there. Holly has been, and you're under no obligation to do this, Holly, but she's been creating a PDF that contains all 4 JPEGs. And what that does is that allows, so they're up there now. What that does is allow you just to print it up and have one page where you got everything. And I don't know, hopefully, if you print it in black and white, I don't know what it looked like. It should look fine. Again, John and Lena, thank you so much for the love, the financial love. Okay, so again, just to explain what we're seeing here is the black dots you see are the same as the F major pentatonic, and then the blue circles are the F minor pentatonic superimposed on top of the black dots. And you can see where there's some blue circles with black dots in the middle. Those are C's and F's. Okay, those are the only notes that these 2 scales have in common, which is kind of cool because you're taking 2 5-note scales and we've got 2 common notes. Now we've got an 8-note scale. And so, yeah, thank you, Holly. So we got a lot of notes now that we can choose from. And here's the thing. Don't memorize this. This is not to say, oh, this is a magic bullet scale. This is a scale that you can use to play in blues and everything. You know what? I'm going to move my light because I forgot. I had the light on the ceiling or aimed at the ceiling. Hold on. I'm going to aim it down a little bit. And what's her name would point out, I'm wearing pants. Pepper would point out that I'm wearing pants, which I am indeed wearing pants. But one never knows. I never Walter Cronkite often didn't. So, okay. Now, and I'm not talking about on TV. I'm talking about around the house. So, Walter Cronkite rarely wore pants around the house. So I'm told. I never met Walter Cronkite. It's kind of a weird thing to even think about. But I did meet Harry Reasoner. I think I was 7 years old, and I met Harry Reasoner. He went to a party at my neighbor's house, and we were there too. We used to live in Washington, D.C. when I was a kid. Randall from Florida, good afternoon. Good to see you. Who else is here? Oh, Dr. Rock, are you still waiting to see your doctor? I hate that. I hate waiting in a doctor's office. Or are you just waiting for your eyes to get dilated? Oh, that's Pepper. Sorry, it took me like an hour to remember your name, Pepper. It was like, it just didn't come to me. I don't know why, but J-Com, good to see you. C'est l'automne. I don't know if I even said that. C'est l'automne? C'est l'automne? I don't know. My wife speaks a little French, and my son Jack took French in college, and Beth told him, just exaggerate. Just exaggerate your accent when you speak French. Imitate a French person when you speak French. And Jack's really good at imitating. And his French professor at college said he's so good he needs to go into linguistics. It was pretty funny. That's the engineer kid. Okay, so my thing is, you definitely learn the major pentatonics and the minor pentatonic, which, by the way, there's only 5 total. Okay, because the minor pentatonic, this may be F major pentatonic, there, the black dots on the left, okay? However, it's also D minor pentatonic. So if you're playing over D blues, you would play that, okay? So we've talked about the pentatonic scales many times, and there's only 5 of them. And I just did a video. I can put the link there, but you can use them. And I actually did create, in fact, where is that? It was like here. It was right after I did the lesson. There it is. So there's all 5 of the shapes if you look across the fretboard. And you can see the red dots are the major roots and the blue dots are the minor roots. And you can see each scale has both minor roots and major roots. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So you learn 5 shapes and you can basically play major and minor in any position. And this is what we're doing. We're playing major, F major over an F7 chord. Okay, in this case. That was the jam. Okay. And then we're playing an F minor over the F major chord, or the F7 jam. And both of those have different, they're different colors over the, one's happier, one's sadder, one's the blues, one's kind of dopey. No, I'm just kidding. I'm dopey. Nice to meet you. Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew. Yeah, exactly. Just imitate Pepe Le Pew when you speak French and it'll sound more legit. I always notice that French women have little tiny wrinkles around their lips like this. And I think it's because so much of their time is talking and they've got their lips out like this. And so they get these wrinkles that we don't get. So other languages, you tend to have a more wrinkles up here because you spend a lot of time with your brow furrowed. Italian comes to mind. I don't know why, but that's just it's fascinating. I love languages. Like, I don't even speak one language, and I love them. So yeah, I'm telling you, do not memorize the major minor hybrid. That's not the point, because if you just play that scale, it doesn't really sound like. It's not really any point to learning it. But there's all sorts of licks when you combine these two and you freely go back and forth. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm not going to play the major minor hybrid scale. It's just I'm going to play both the major pentatonic and both the minor pentatonic, and I'm just going to weave in and out at will. Instead of going from one to the other, and just go from one to the other. And where are we? There we go. You know, whenever I feel like it, whatever sounds good to me. That's a perfect example right there. I'm playing the 6th of the major pentatonic, I'm playing the 7th of the minor pentatonic, and then the 5th, which is in both, and the root, which is in both. And like I said, one of my favorite guitar players, George Benson, would do that a lot. So would Stevie Ray Vaughan. He would go major, minor all the time. B.B. King too. So these are just trying to find a shape two shapes that work over the D pentatonic. I mean, I'm sorry, the D shape, the D triad shape from the CAGED method. Okay, is this all making sense? Does this make sense? And again, like I keep saying this, but don't memorize the high bridge scale. Just work on those two scales. Get together with a friend and jam. How, you know, one of you play an F7 chord. You don't need to go to the 4 chord. You can stay on one chord the whole time and just kind of practice and then take turns. Much like Alex and I would do if we're jamming. You know, when we do our jam sessions and stuff. But the thing is just to start to hear. Oh, okay. At this moment, I want to hear a major scale. At this moment, I want to hear the minor scale. Yeah, all genres. I mean, that's exactly right, Randall. You know, blues, rock, country, jazz, bluegrass, which is different than country. You know, any genre of music that has improvisation is going to use both of those scales. And I guarantee you, the best, the people who are the best at it, George Benson and like say Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know, they're the best who did it the best didn't think too much. That was like Steve Lukather, the guitar player for Toto. When I met him, I told him he was part of the reason I moved to LA because I wanted to be him. And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what." He said, "I'll tell you what Larry Carlton told me when I first got into session work." And I said, "Please." And he said, "Don't think, play." And that's exactly right. And I don't want to say I'd be further along in my career. I don't know. I think if I became a phenomenal soloist and maybe an artist or got very successful at a young age, I don't know where I'd be today. Because that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, I feel like I'm pretty successful now. But my success in the business came much later in life. And we'll talk about that more when next week when I start my next series. We're going to do a series, and I may go a while on this, on songwriting. But the cool thing about this is I think when we start doing the songwriting series, as you guys, we start writing songs and stuff, and we're going to talk about every single aspect of songs. Lately, I mean, it depends on who I'm writing for, but lately I'm primarily only creating a bed for other people to write on top of. So other people are writing what's called the top line, not me. And the top line is the melody and the lyrics, and those are the two most important parts. But without the first part that inspires those two parts, which is the chord structure, the bed, the jam, the whatever you put underneath it, without that, it wouldn't. The top two parts wouldn't happen. It wouldn't exist. So that's kind of my role in songwriting currently. Although I've got a couple songs, you know, I got that one song that came out, question mark. I don't think it's, you know, I haven't checked my CD baby. I haven't really made any money on it yet. So, but you know, one never knows. And I can send people to my, streaming page, you know, Spotify page for if they're looking for music for a movie or a TV show or something. Oops, what am I looking for? There it is. So but because I went through CD Baby, they went ahead and put it up on. I got 32 views. That's not too bad. I wasn't even trying. So this, I've not promoted this really, but I got some likes. Okay, so here's question mark, which is kind of a gypsy jazz kind of vibe. Speaking in French, I've got a new one coming out called Emma Louise, which you all know. I played it for you, and I'm just waiting for Emma to finish the artwork. But she's in the middle of a move to Spokane, Washington. So. Okay, now let me just reply to this kid. Wait, it's drummer friend, young drummer. I told him to join us. Brian's a great drummer, and he went on a ministry thing, went on a mission trip to the Czech Republic to do music, and he ended up meeting a girl and getting married. Now they live in the Czech Republic, so he's in town. He was just letting me know he was available to play at church, and I was like, dang it, I just booked someone yesterday. I would have loved to have used you. So, but I'll probably definitely pull him in. So he may jump in on this line. He said, hey, I'm on my YouTube channel right now. You should join in. I think he has a YouTube channel too. So, and I'm sure his Czech is getting pretty good. Hey, Jan, what's going on? Let's see. Oh, thank you, Holly. Holly combined the worksheet. So it's on the Tom's Lesson and PDF tab. There it is. I see it. Thank you, Holly. It's on Tom's Lesson and PDF tab there on Discord, and it's free to join. I don't know that there's anything you can pay for. So, and like I said, when we start doing the songwriting thing, people are going to we already have a tab there for posting your own stuff, so we'll just use that. Okay. Best song titles. Did anybody post anything? Oh, that's funny. I never even looked at this one. Let's see. Sorry, Gary, your dad joke. Let's see. Your own stuff. Okay, so that's where people will probably do. And if you got artwork that you did and you want to post it there, go for it. That's fine. You could even. I'm even fine with people posting their. Lena, you can always post your lessons up there if you want, or we could create a separate tab, Dennis. That's what would you call that? Followers, YouTube videos. Like if people have other channels, because there's a couple other YouTube guitar teachers that join us, and they could put. I'm fine with them putting their videos up there. I don't really care. I'm not in competition with anybody, except myself. So viewers, we got a lot of tabs up there. Maybe we want to clean up. Maybe we get rid of the songwriting one, the song title one or something. Let's see. We got guitar builds. Okay, that's totally fine. Best song titles. Questions about. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. A question about the guitar. Oh, there's Becker. Becker's who I was trying to think of. He could definitely if we had a tab where you could post videos, I'm fine with that. I forget to post my videos up there. In fact, I just did one. We haven't talked about it. The video that I did. When did that one drop? 28. So that was Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. 453 views, not many views, but my first gig was my worst gig. Or my worst gig was my first gig. Or I forget which way I said it. But yeah, that was... I touched on it in the video, but it's like, I'm amazed I kept playing guitar after that. I think I would have moved on. But I don't know. Like I said, I had my identity was firmly established at the end of that school year, as Tom the guitar player. So, when you're in junior high, that's your number one thing and you don't even realize that's what your thing is. You're trying to find your identity. You don't realize that. And so whatever group accepts you, that tends to be your identity. Sadly, it's not usually coming from yourself. It's usually coming from others. But the band people, the band geeks tended to accepted me. And so I kind of fell in with them. So it worked out. Oh, nice. Oh, Randall, you've got... Oh, hey, Jack Floyd. Good to see you. Or Jack Lloyd, sorry. Yes. There you go. Yeah, you can totally see. In fact, if you think about the F minor pentatonic we have here, which looks like A flat major pentatonic, but that's pentatonic number 2, right? Well, pentatonic number 1 is right here. Well, this makes perfect sense. If we're in the key of F... This is the first place you would go. So having that right there makes all of this really nice, because I could easily, let me get my foot rest back, but I could easily go, like before when I was playing over this, I was trying not to leave the third position, okay? I was trying to stay on those 2 scales. But I could totally... go into that super familiar pentatonic number 1. And just doing chromatic leading into the triad, just the purple notes. See those purple notes? Put your third finger on that note, and then go up chromatically with your first, second, third. Do the same with the root. There's the F note. You can go down too, sounds nice. Go to that 7th. Okay, and then the top string. Okay, hold on a second. Stop my... Thank you, Bruce. What was the question again? Sorry. I thought it was more of a comment than a question. Question from Jack Lloyd. Do not see how F minor pentatonic works with all these frets. Oh. I readily see how the D shape is used to make F major chord, and then how the F major pentatonic structured around it. But why is he connecting it? The minor pentatonic, you just basically have to find. So you have to find the Fs. So you do that now. The minor pentatonic doesn't work on the F major. And I just played for like 3 minutes right there proving how it doesn't work. Okay? It shouldn't work. It's got an A flat. The F chord has an A natural. It shouldn't work. But that's what the blues is. The blues is superimposing a minor pentatonic scale. I'm not saying minor scale, because a minor scale will be right? That would be a minor scale, harmonic minor. No, minor pentatonic. So superimposing a minor pentatonic over a major scale creates a blues sound. And then if we want, we can add the blues note, that flat 5, and it makes it even more so. So yeah, it's connected. You can find it by memorizing on the pentatonic scales, okay? And I pulled up that JPEG where I showed you all the pentatonic scales. Where was that? Here? Here. Yeah. And I think this is also up at the Discord if you want to download it and print it. But that's all 5 pentatonics, and it's showing you the major and minors. And so the pentatonic at the right there at the 5th fret, the one that's there is pentatonic number 1. And you see the blues scale, the blues tones of the A's there. And then if we were continue playing A blues, because we're in the key of A here, A over an A7 chord, then we could play pentatonic number 2. And see, there's the blue note there, and there's another blue note there. And that's, so what you're doing is, yeah, it doesn't technically make sense musically, but that is exactly the thing about music. So much of what Bach did in his time didn't make sense, but people people liked it, and it made sense to people's ears, or he would set it up to make sense. You know, he would create these tensions and then releases, and you know, it's like the release is going to be pretty much a standard 1 chord or something. It's going to be the most simple thing to find, but the tension, you can create tension a million, billions of different ways. And that's what we're trying to do. Hey, Mustafi, Udayan, what's going on? And Quail, good to see you. Oh, shoot, you've already been teaching today. Oh, you're on a different time zone. I was going to say, man, you're up early. But it's one of those things where somebody stumbled. Charlie Parker did this all the time. He's like, oh, you know, the flat 9 and the sharp 9 and the flat 5 and the sharp 5 all sound really great. And people are like, no, those are wrong notes. And it's like, not to me. They sound cool. Look what I can do with them. You know, and he's like, well, that sounds normal now. But back when the first person that played that, it didn't sound normal. It didn't sound right. It sounded wrong. It's like, and so that's what the deal is. Hopefully, Jack, that kind of answers your question. Yes, it's obvious to see how the F major pentatonic fits over the F major triad. But that's only half the story, and that's the happy half. You know, you need to have a real story, you have to have some tension. And so here's the other half of the story. And so you can go back, and my point of talking about the hybrids is you can go back and forth between the F major pentatonic and the F minor pentatonic. And by the way, that F minor pentatonic is identical to the A flat major pentatonic. So if you want to create some kind of mathematical formula in your head that says, okay, if I want to play a minor pentatonic over F, then I go up a minor third and play the major pentatonic. If that works for you, that's fine. It doesn't really matter to me. I sometimes think that myself. So like if I'm playing in the key of G, I can play G major. Well, not really G major over that because G major is an F, but I can play G major pentatonic. But that's kind of just like kind of boring, kind of happy, but that's fine. You know, it's like, okay, what we call in jazz, you would call that playing inside. And not that playing minor over it is outside, but it's a little bit more outside than playing major, okay? So then you go, okay, well, if I take this up 3 frets, I get a... get a blues sound. It's the same exact scale. All I've done is move it up 3 frets. But we didn't do that here. I wanted you to see the 2 scales that lay over this D shape. That's why it's called the CAGED method, because it's the different shapes up and down the neck, and I want you to see the shape. I don't want you to go, okay, so I'll play this F major pentatonic here, and then I'll just move it up 3 frets to get the blues. No. I don't want you to leave this position. I want you to see what's there, because there's all sorts of neat blues things in there that you're going to miss if you just take the major and slide it up 2 frets. Okay? Yeah, well, the Fs are, well, and that's, again, so Jack, the most important thing you need to do, particularly if you're an electric guitar player, is memorize your fretboard. So it shouldn't be a problem to find the Fs if you have your fretboard memorized. And if that's something you haven't done yet, it's definitely something to work on, because it will pay dividends in so many different ways, in all different directions, okay? If you know your fretboard, you'll start to see the harmonies. If you play this chord, you're like, yeah, I don't know what that is. And you look at it and you go, well, it's a D, A, C, F, A. So if I put them in order, D, F, A, C, you might go, oh, that's D minor 7 chord, okay. Or if, you know, you're playing this note and somebody says, hey, so what note are you playing right there? And you go, that's a G. And they're like, oh, thanks, cool, that's what I want to play too. So it allows you to communicate. It allows you to analyze stuff you're doing. It allows you to find things on, like if somebody says, oh, can you play, you know, a C flat, C chord or whatever, you can go, okay, you can find it because you know where the C is on the fretboard. So yeah, but basically we did this before. Like I said, when I showed you this diagram here, if you look at, let's see, at the 9th fret, that's pentatonic number 3, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th fret, and you can see the blues roots are the two blue notes there, and those are A's. So that, oh wait, no wait, we want pentatonic number, sorry, we want pentatonic number 2. So pentatonic number 2 is the 7th fret pentatonic with that red note at the 8th fret. That's the one I'm using. And you can see the 2 blue notes. See, if we look at that and then we look at this, that blue note would be right where that root is, okay? And so, and if you look at the hybrid, if you see the 2 notes that have there's 4 notes that have a black dot and a circle around it, a blue circle around it, okay? Those are C's and those are F's. Those are the only 2 notes that F minor pentatonic and F major pentatonic have in common. That's why they're overlapping on each other, okay? So the top one there and the second from the bottom one, those are the 2 Fs. So if you find those Fs, you know, you should be, you can, and that's part of the reason, you know, one of the reasons pentatonic number 1 is such a good blues scale is because it has three minor roots and 3 major roots. And so both of these scales here only have 2 Fs in them. So there's not, you know, that's why I said, oh, it's nice to know that's an F too. So if you want to go down there, you can, you know, if you're playing the major pentatonic, you can easily get down to it. But knowing where the F notes are and then memorizing the shape, there's the major and the minor. Then you've got the tools you need for that D shape, okay? If it's... You can go back and forth at will over that D7 or that F7, okay? Yeah, it's definitely acoustic. Like if you're an electric player, then one of the number one things, one of the top things, if not the top thing to do, is learn your fretboard, learn the notes on the fretboard. It just opens everything up and it allows you to start to find stuff a lot faster. And then for acoustic players, I always say, oh, you got to have more strumming groups, because I can't tell you how many times I see an acoustic guitar player play, you know, somebody, and they do the same. So learning all the notes on the fretboard isn't necessarily much of a priority for acoustic players. Now, if you're an acoustic player that's playing in a bluegrass group or an acoustic player that's playing with another acoustic player and you have the opportunity to solo in live performances, then you would want to, if you're going to go into that soloing, you want to learn to solo, you're going to need to learn the fretboard, and that's just makes it makes everything a lot easier. So no worries, Jack. It's on point, and it's Jack. If one person has the question, probably 10 other people have the exact same question but didn't ask or are afraid to ask because I'm such an intimidating figure. I'm trying to give you my evil eye right now, my stink eye. Screen cap. So, yeah. I watched Josh Floyd's dad's memorial service. It was on Saturday. I watched it live. It was up in Sacramento, and I watched it on Facebook. And God bless, Josh is one of our Discord things, and he's a young guy, and they did a great job. His Heather, Dave's wife, did a great job. I mean, I don't know how I would do that, get up in front of a whole church, because he was a pastor of a big church up there. So I'm sure the memorial service, they didn't show the crowd, but I'm sure it was packed. Josh was in the band. I'm pretty sure it's Josh. Josh was in the band, and his brother did a sermon, and it's just like the maturity of those three boys is off the charts. And just I've continued to be, often thought of Dave. And one of the things that happened was I was watching this, and they did a slideshow like they often do at memorial services, right? And they were going really fast, like 1, maybe 2 seconds per slide. And I'm like, dang, that's really fast for a slideshow. And then it got further into the slideshow, and like 3 songs were. So we're talking about a 10-minute slideshow. But they got further in the slides, and the photos were just amazing. And I forgot that both Dave and Heather, like I think Dave was like really into nature photography, and Heather was really into portraiture photography. I mean, just the best photos. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I texted Alex Saturday, and I said, bring your camera, because I bet your mom and I don't have hardly any pictures of us together anymore. When we were young and dating or early married and things, there's a few pictures of us together, but we've never done a photo shoot except for record covers. And so we took Alex he's got a really nice Sony camera, and he came over early on. Well, after church on Sunday, we just did 15, 20 minutes of taking photos. But when you've got a good camera and you take a click, like that kind of thing, you're gonna get something. So, hey, Humble, how's it going? Yes, there was an intense solar flare a couple days ago. It definitely will be affecting cell phone service, GPS. I watched an engineering video about GPS. There's Real Engineering on YouTube. I think they were the ones that did this about GPS and how it works, and it's so amazing. Of course, it was originally done for military applications, and then for naval and airline use, and then it got made available to the public. So it's pretty amazing how it all went down. And like some countries have their own satellites, and some countries rely on ours and stuff. So it's interesting. Wow, you've been with us for 10 months, Lena? Well, I'm glad you've learned a lot. I mean, I hope that's the case. Like I said, Monday we're going to start a new series. We're going to get off the CAGED. The CAGED method was a revisitation, and I tried to make it give us something different to learn. So you could go back and watch the CAGED method, which was the first 12 videos I did during this COVID live stream series that started out daily and then went to 3 days a week, and then went to, did it go to 2 or did it just go from 3 to 1? I got to get work done. So it's like I could sit here and talk. I could do 8 hours a day, 7 days a week probably. So next week I'm going to start a series on, and I have no idea how long it's going to go, but I'm going to talk about songwriting. And I will delve into instrumental music. I will delve into maybe a little bit into score music, library music, different types of music, as well as songs, but mostly songwriting. So I think we'll talk mostly about that. But there's many things to talk about in that arena alone. And I like to play a game called Where's the Hook? And so we'll probably do that a little bit, but we've talked about this in the past. So 3-1. Sam, is Sam answering the question? Yeah, and you can watch this later. I leave it up, and the chat stays up too, so everybody can see. Okay, we've got 37 likes. We got what? We got to 50 likes last Monday, right? During the or maybe we didn't quite get. Hey, Elizabeth Holloway, you chimed in to laugh at me. I'll suddenly feel like I'm back in junior high. Oh man. Speaking of junior high, I don't know if you saw my new video, but oh my gosh, it was it was recalling my worst gig, which just, and actually somebody here it is. So check it out after we're done here. Somebody said, Paul, you said I played for your sister's birthday. I totally forgot. I don't remember that gig at all. I know I had a band before. We were a band before, and I don't remember what the name of the band was. That's the weird thing. Yeah, that's so weird. But it was, and in fact, I tagged 3 of the 7 bandmates. 3 of them are I'm Facebook friends with. And I posted it on my Facebook page and tagged 3 people, but only one of them chimed in. It was Craig Baker, who was actually probably the best musician in the band. He was a really good. I don't know if he still plays trumpet or not. He plays guitar, but he was a really good trumpet player at the time. And then Mike Evans, who was the I think class president, my junior high, I think. And so I tried to get popular. And you've recorded 300 songs? Oh, that's awesome, Jerry. Yeah, depends on how you define songs. Because I work with a lot of people, so I've written thousands of songs. But I do my part on songs, and then other people run with it. Complete songs by myself, with lyrics recorded. I did 3 records with my wife. I wrote almost all the music for that, lyrics, melodies, everything. And then we had a lot of recordings that we didn't release, probably another 2 records worth. And then I did, had plans to do my own record. So I don't know. I'm not even aware of how many songs I've recorded myself, but I've been part of many, many songs. Justin Bieber and I have, I think, written 40 or 50 songs, just the 2 of us. So he keeps releasing them and then not releasing them. It's like they get out somehow. They get leaked and then they don't get released on a regular label. So on Universal, but that's my role as a songwriter now is more just creating beds for other artists to write over. And so sometimes I'm proud of the byproduct and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'll promote it on my Facebook and sometimes I won't. It depends on the artist. But I'll occasionally do tutorials on how I play the guitar parts for songs. Like I think the last one I did was "Said the Sky," the hook from "Treading Water," which I really like that hook. That I can. And he's doing great. He's playing like freaking stadiums right now. just did Red Rocks. He's from Denver, but he's a DJ, so he does like dubstep and all sorts of stuff, and so this song was kind of a departure for him. And so I have a tutorial on that. It's called, let's see, where is it? Oh, I guess the last one I did was California Reaper, which was Miles Wesley. Said this guy, there it is. Okay, I'll post this one too. So if you're interested on what I just played, you want to be able to do that. Here it be. And like I said, that's kind of my role now as a songwriter, is more coming up with something for someone else to write over. And there's a reason for that. For one thing, when I was doing all the writing myself, I'm already starting my songwriting series, aren't I? But when I was, and I'll probably say all this again on Monday. This is Monday, so. But when I was doing all the writing, I've told you this before. When I was doing 100% of the writing myself, I had zero success. It wasn't until I started collaborating that I started to actually see some real success, because you're multiplying your opportunities when you write with other people. And their opportunities become your opportunities, and your opportunities become their opportunities. So if you write a really nice song with another person, and they have the perfect place for it, well, that's great. If they write a song with you and you have a perfect place, it's great for both of you. So that's more the business aspect of songwriting. But when I think about all the people I've worked with, the different people that have recorded songs, I mean, Sam Hook and I have probably done 75 songs, and we've probably got 4 or 5 placements. The Beat Freaks and I probably have 150 songs that we wrote together, and we probably got 5 or 6 placements. So, it's a shotgun method. You just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and eventually one of them gets on a record, and you make $10. It's not, I don't think from any of the Beat Freaks records I made any more than $10 on any of those European records. Although now that I've signed a Universal, there should be some mechanical royalties forthcoming that are due me, because they will probably go get them, whereas I didn't have the power to. And that's also part of something we could feasibly talk about as we talk about songwriting. I may do subheadings, songwriting, and then boom, the basics. Songwriting, getting started, songwriting, publishing, songwriting, BMI or ASCAP, that kind of stuff. I might touch on all those kind of things. It's kind of more of a professional thing. Anybody can be a member of BMI or ASCAP, which are or CSAC, which are the performance royalty groups. I was a member of BMI probably for 10 or 15 years before I actually generated any money from them. So you can pick one. I picked BMI because it was free to join, and the Beatles were BMI. So that was all. I didn't have the $25 to join ASCAP. So now the publishing, if you want to be a publisher, which I also recommend, that fee may be like $150 or something like that. But it's a one-time thing. You pay it once and you're set up, and that's it. And that's mostly just for their time, because you have to give them 5 different publishing company names. And then they will find whichever one is the highest that's not taken. That one will be your publishing company name. So, yeah. Oh, everybody take a sip. Holly dropped her pick. Cheers. So let's see what else is going on. Now Beth and I didn't do anything for our anniversary. It was church, and we had friends over and stuff, and the kids were over. So we're gonna do something later in November when she has some time off, and we're going to we'll go out of town or something like that. It might happen it won't happen on a Sunday. So Monday morning I should be good. We probably wouldn't leave until after my live stream. So. And then, let's see. Oop, okay. What else is going on? And yeah, so the major and minor pentatonic thing, and keep in mind, these 2 scales travel with this shape. So if I were to go to G and take this up, from there to there, then I just move those two scales, and now I'm playing here. I just move the two scales with it. So the whole point is when you're learning that shape there, the purple D shape, you're technically learning 12 chords. When you learn the pentatonic, major pentatonic that goes with it, you've learned 12 major pentatonics because it's completely movable. There are no open strings. I always say this, anytime there's no open strings, you're learning 12 of them. You can move them anywhere. And then same thing with the F minor, you learn 12 there. So there's 12 chords, 12 major pentatonics, 12 minors. There's 36 things. And then the hybrid, if you want to count that as its own entity, again, I tell you, don't memorize it. Just know that it exists when you're free to go back and forth between these major and minors. The hybrid is more of a thing where a visualization exercise so that you can see how they lay on top of each other. Okay. Because those are the two scales right there, the blue and the black on top of each other in that hybrid version. But if you want to count that, that's another 12. So there's 48. Today we learned 48 things. So, yeah, this is November. November rain, yeah. No rain. I wish. It's gloomy enough to get rain. I had my sprinklers off for a couple days because we got a good rain last Monday. I always forget because we're fairly new to this neighborhood, and I left my trash can out there. And when they emptied the trash can and then the rain was coming, the trash can was really heavy because it was full of stuff. But when they emptied it, it was really light. And apparently it must have gone down the street. But somebody went and brought it back for me and put it in my driveway. I'm like, that's a neighborhood. But they're like, oh, shoot, Tom forgot. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I forgot. I mean, maybe the trash guy did it, but I don't think that's something they say inside there, especially if it's raining. I wouldn't get out of the truck. And I know he didn't drive on my property because that's a big truck. But when I came out to get the trash can, I was like, the rain had stopped and it was sitting in the middle of my driveway. And I'm like, why is it? Oh, right. Because the storm drain, it just, the first time we got a big rain on a Monday, I totally, my trash cans ended up down the street. Empty, like spilled over, trash everywhere. It was like, oh no, God. I felt awful, but it wasn't just mine. It was like 10 other trash cans down there. It's like everybody had the same problem. And it's our side of the street isn't actually that bad. It's the other side of the street because we're on a north-south street and we're going uphill. And the other side of the street gets really bad. And the city actually created these concrete landing things for their trash cans, but they didn't do it on our side of the street. So they put their trash cans on these above the curb, and this has nothing to do with this. So, I stab myself all the time with that. Yeah, those little pinprick things. I do that all the time. I'm tuned to open G. I don't have any thumbnail now. I broke my thumbnail the other day and aggravated my tennis elbow playing tennis with Alex, but it's not bad enough to not play, which is good. So just to wear the right tools. So, Holly, you only drinking water? Fire water? Well, I wish I could like wine. I've been trying to drink a little, maybe a glass of red wine every third night or something. It just tastes awful to me. And people, I've had some people say, well, you just haven't tried the right wine. But, the more expensive the wine, almost the worse it tastes. Like $2 Chuck tastes better than a $50 glass of wine. I've tried, and I've had friends spend money that I told them not to spend to say, no, but you have to try this one. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, still just it's not like quite as bad as battery acid, but it's pretty bad. Yeah, I never do that, Dennis. I never. When I'm changing. Well, for one thing, I generally I have my main guitars that I have to change strings on have Spurzels. I really like Spurzel tuners. This is my G&L, and my main Strat has Spurzels, and my Les Paul has Spurzels. And basically, the idea is you pull the string all the way through. I mean, you loosen it, you pull all the string all the way through the pin, and then tighten it. And it sends a pin up and holds the string in place. So then you turn it there, and then you clip it off right there. And if you clip it off right there, there's very, very little string to poke you. So there's not that problem. And the other thing is the length. See the amount of string that's on the headstock here. It's going the low E string is going here and there, and that's it. It doesn't even do. It does a half a turn around the spindle. So I can bend like crazy on other strings, and they won't. They're less likely to go out of tune. I don't recommend it for acoustic, but on electric for sure. If you want to have it does two things. It allows you to stay in tune easy. It doesn't, because when you have like 3 or 4 wrappings around the tuning peg, when you have 3 or 4 wrappings around it, the strings have, particularly, well, the bottom strings have bumps on them. They're wound strings, and they tend to like do this, and then when you do a bend or you do a whammy bar thing, then they kind of shift and they get caught there, and now you're out of tune because the wrappings are touching each other and everything. So it gets a little crazy. Get out! You're watching Fleetwood Mac on YouTube and I pop up. I mean, I love Fleetwood Mac. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, that's funny. Sorry, hey baby. Well, are you a subscriber? Is that why I showed up? Because I will show up if you're a subscriber, and I have. Bruce, where are we? We're getting up there. I got it over here. Hold on a second. Dashboard. We're almost to 98, right? It's 97, 819. I think that Apex video. I've gotten 853 in the last 28 days. That Apex video I did, everybody take a sip, because I did all the guitars on Apex Legends, or I do all the guitars. The composer promoted it. The voice of the character promoted it. He's got a lot of followers. So that got me a lot of followers, and so I still don't think we're going to hit 100 before the end of the year. I've got 2 months. I'd have to do better than 853. I would have to average about 1,200 the next 2 months, or 1,100 the next 2 months to hit 100,000. So it may happen in January. So that'll be cool. Watch YouTube do like a house cleaning parsing of like accounts that don't ever, inactive accounts, and then I'll lose like 50,000 viewers. I'm like, dang it. So I'm hoping they don't do that. I have had, they do that, and I have lost some. There was like days where I go negative, like 30, 40 negative, just because they're going through their system, and like anyone who hasn't been active in the last 10 years, they're just going to delete. So they probably send emails saying, we're going to delete your account, and they never reply, and so they just go, okay, you're out of here. My account's very active, so, oh, good. Well, the one, Baby J, the one video that most of these people saw that is by far my most popular video, and it's, I actually have a plan to make a video about how that video came about and why it did so well, and I have some theories about that. But it's got 3 million views, which is pretty good. But this is the video that kind of blew up my channel. So if you want to check that one out, and it's 7 tips for older beginners. And I don't know how old you are, Baby J. I'm assuming you're 3 years old, 2 years old, going by your handle anyway. Going by your linguistic abilities, I'd say you're probably closer to 4 or 5 years old. So, but that's a video. You don't have to be an older beginner. If people are like, well, am I too old at 16? Whatever. I mean, am I too young at 16 to start playing guitar? I was like, no, it was really geared. I should have said 7 tips for busy beginners. That would have been a better title for that now that I think about it. Because that's really kind of what I was talking about. Like, look, practice 5 minutes a day. Because 5 will turn into 10, 15, 20. But if you think you got to practice for an hour every day, you're never going to pick up the guitar because you're never going to be able to carve an hour out of everybody's busy life. But if you start with 5, you may lose track of time, and then that's a good thing. So, and you may turn into 10 or 15. But that's just one of the tips. The other one of the tips is keep a guitar out on a stand or hanging on a wall or something. Well, you can see that I kind of live that, but that's because this is what I do for a living. So I'm in here writing and working on stuff all day long. So you can see I've got a whole boat of guitars over there. I got just guitars everywhere. So the idea is that thinking there is that if you keep your guitar out, you'll be more likely to pick it up. If it's in the case in the closet, and that if you've spent a lot of money on a really nice guitar and you want to keep it nice, okay, that's fine. But then buy a beater to keep around the house or to hang on the wall, especially if you got kids or grandkids that are going to be getting their grubby little peanut butter covered fingers all over your guitars. It's just that just makes my flesh crawl just thinking about it. This room will be off limits. Oh, I've got 749. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, you're 27, so that's cool. Yeah. I think, yeah, right? Yeah, I'm 60. I just turned 60 in July, so it's starting to show. I see it right here. This is where I see it, right in my eyes. I mean, that's... but my hands still look pretty good because I've never done a hard day's labor in my life. I've never dug a ditch. I've never put a roof on. I've never done any of the things that you all have done. I was like, oh, what am I going to do for a living? Oh, this is easy. I can sit down and do it. It's like, yay. I can do this all day long. So that's pretty much what I do. Today, I'm not working for anyone today. I don't think. Let me check my email. Oh, I got emails. Let me see. Make sure I'm not working for somebody. Oh, weird. See more, yes. Okay. Oh, that's not work. So if I'm not working for someone else, one of the things that I've done, one of the things you have to do when you're self-employed is you generally work for yourself. Now, some people that might be working on promotion. I don't really do that so much. I have lots of places I can send music to. So I've got a lot of pop songwriters that I work with, producers, pop producers. So if I want to sit down and try to come up with some hooks, great. Otherwise, I can sit down and write some music for, I have some TV shows that I work with the production companies. I don't generally write for what's called library companies. And again, when we start talking about songwriting in the next few weeks, I'll talk about the different opportunities that exist for people that can create content, but musical content. But I think, Holly, you're doing pretty good, though. That's starting that late and being able to do what you can do at 50. That's pretty amazing. It's a great hobby, but it is one of those things where if you struggle, if you're going to have in your old age, if you have arthritis, it might be a problem. And I still want to do a video about that. I don't have arthritis, thankfully, not yet anyway. But yeah, one of the things I don't write for library companies. I do have music in some library companies, but the problem is there's about 200 other composers writing music, and there's like 4 million songs, and I think, I sent them 40 songs. I wrote 40 songs for them. And, that's literally 1/100,000th of their catalog. And the chance that some video editor somewhere on some TV show is going to happen to hear my song out of all the other 4 million songs is pretty slim. And I learned that lesson pretty early on. So I've been very, very fortunate to be able to work directly with the people putting music on shows. So they tell me what they want, and I give it to them, and that really helps. It cuts out the middleman. The production company ended up getting the publishing, but that's totally fine because the library would take the publishing anyway. So, so now I'm just giving up. I'm giving up publishing up to the person that's actually hiring me, and almost 100% of the music I create for TV gets used at some point. It may only be used once, But with a lot of cable shows, the great thing about cable shows is they tend to re-air them a million times. I mean, one of the shows I have a lot of music on is Street Outlaws, and all of those iterations, all those spin-offs. Street Outlaws is one of the big shows that I have music on. So, but also I have music on like Extra. You know, Tonight, the TV show, the Hollywood show, the Ellen DeGeneres show, Ellen. I have music on that. I had a lot of music on Let's Make a Deal for a while. For about 4 years, I was creating a lot of music for them. And that was great because that was 5 days a week of network television, which pays the best. Every time slot pays different. Like morning pays less than primetime. I've got music on primetime network before. But yeah, it's all just about, I think part of it is just being in Hollywood. As much as I would love to maybe move out of California because I can do like all of my work from home, I could live anywhere. The real advantage to California, living right here in Hollywood or in Los Angeles, is the ability to just go to coffee with somebody or go hang out with somebody or take a meeting anytime or have someone come over. Super duper easy. So. That wouldn't be that stuff might start to dwindle off if I left. The other work wouldn't be affected at all. The film scoring stuff I do, the game scoring things that I work on, the composers that I work for, that wouldn't be faced at all by if I moved out of town. Heck, I wouldn't even tell them necessarily that I wasn't in town anymore. So. I'm adding them all. Those are that to get the hybrid scale. And again, John, I'm just going to reiterate this because it's real important, and particularly for you because I know you're someone who really likes to have all the I's crossed and all the T's dotted. No, reverse that. All the T's dotted and all the I's crossed. But all I'm doing is superimposing one over on top of the other. Okay? Don't memorize the hybrid scale. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just know that when you're playing over this shape, the D shape, we're not talking particularly about F. It's just, I'm using F as the key for this lesson, but it could be, I could have gone up a fret and we could have done everything in F sharp, or gone up another fret and done everything in G. So again, those are all movable. But if you're playing in blues, bluegrass, rock, country, jazz, and pretty much any improvisational music, the major pentatonic works and the minor pentatonic will work over a major chord, particularly if it's a dominant seventh chord. If it's a major seventh chord, you got to be careful. But we're talking again about pentatonic scales, 5-note scales. Diatonic scale, F minor diatonic would not work, and F major diatonic wouldn't work. We're talking about pentatonic. There's simpler scales. There's more room for that. So what I did was you play one and play the other and play back and forth and at will. And when you do that, you end up creating the hybrid. I wouldn't memorize the hybrid at all. That's a mess down there. All that is I'm superimposing the major scale or the minor scale on top of the major scale. So those blue circles are the minor pentatonic, and the black dots are the major pentatonic that you can see directly to its left. Or to our left this way. So yeah, the hybrid scale is what happens when you start to mess around with both of those scales over the F chord. And the example I've been doing, and I'm happy to do it, I got an F7 jam right here. Okay? Really boring. Hey, we're to 47 likes. Yay! And I was going back and forth. I was playing the major and the minor. Here's the major. And I did the minor. And I would always kind of do a lot of licks that resolve on the F note, in this case, the root note, just so you can keep centered. But then once you've done that a few times, then almost try to avoid the root so it doesn't become too common sounding. And that could be a challenge. So you can even do that. That sounds like a Zen guitar thing. I'm trying to remember the name of the book but it's like, don't play the root, right? Don't think of a pink elephant, basically. Avoid. So if I were to avoid the root and try to create something musical, it would actually force me to do things I wouldn't normally do. right? I mean, that's a huge exercise. That's a really good exercise, but it is important to know the root and to find the roots, to be able to find the roots. Down there's an F. We want to get out of our position here. But I'm basically, it's the major pentatonic that fits over this shape, and it's the minor pentatonic that fits over this shape. And you're like, well, this is a major scale. How come there's a minor? No, we're playing a minor scale over the major to get the blues sound. And if I combine those two, I get, you know. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not thinking that hybrid scale. I'm thinking both the major and the minor pentatonic. Here's the minor, or major. Here's the minor. Hybrid of the two. I'm playing the 6, the flat 7, and the root. The 6 is part of the F major pentatonic, the flat 7 is part of the F minor pentatonic, and the root is part of both. I could do the and there I'm playing the flat 3, which is part of the minor pentatonic, and the major 3, the regular 3, which is part of the F major pentatonic. George Benson would go. He would do that where he'd slide that flat 3 into the 3rd. Go for the 5th up here on A, or the C, I'm sorry, yeah, the C note, the 5th. You go to that root, and you go down to the 5th. There's the 4th. So, anyway, you forgot to like, well, what the heck? Hey, you know what? I didn't like it. Well, how about if I like it? I never like my videos. I'm not liking this now. Why would I like my own video? Okay, let me go to it. Let's see. How do I get to my own video? How do I, let's see. So here, view on YouTube. Oh, I'm going to create a feedback loop. I got to be careful. All right, so, oh, I got an ad. I got a dislike. Hilarious. Come on. There you go. All right. Now I'm going to close it. I got a girl playing a Fender guitar, I think. Is it a Fender ad? Oh, no, in-ear monitors. Okay, so it's a girl advertising. A girl guitar player advertising in-ear monitors. So, yeah, I got a dislike. Somebody was mad at me for something I said, probably. Oh, bye, Jerry. Oh, Jerry's already gone. Oh, yeah, the live chat. You're right. The live chat doesn't show until after I log out. The live chat goes away for about, I think they do that just to scan it to make sure there's no naughty words. And that's why we don't, that's why it automatically holds it for review. And if you say the F word or something like that, you know, it's not going to, the F word is the F major chord. That's the F word. Yeah. So, that's the next song I'm releasing on my on Spotify. I'm just waiting for Emma to do the artwork. So, oh, you wanted to shame the? No, I guarantee the dislike. Whoever disliked the video, it may have just hit it accidentally. People just don't. There's some people that I just rub the wrong way. So I totally understand, and I guarantee you, they're not still watching. They didn't hit dislike and then watch for an hour. That just would be like, unless they're like a glutton for punishment. Maybe that would be the caveat. Let's see. Oh, Sam's famous. After 79, I didn't progress until 92 when I learned songs after buying tablature songbooks. Yeah. Then in 2000, I took lessons again so I could learn to fingerpick James Taylor, Beatles, etc. Yeah, lessons. Lessons are a good way to, I still think the best way to get better fast is, and Holly is, I think, a living testimony to this, is to start playing out in front of people and play with, get in bands or duos or anything. But if you can get in front of people, you're just for the fear of making a fool of yourself, you will practice the crud out of the instrument. Unless you really don't, you have no shame, and then you won't care if you look the fool. But take care, Kathy. Oh, bummer. Kathy said something sad, and I missed it. Sorry. Yeah, Bob Schumann. I think that the reason why the live chat doesn't show again, I think that YouTube. I mean, I don't know if they can instantly tell you that there's. I don't know why it takes that long to show up, but it does. It takes about 24 hours. So, Fire and Rain. You've got Friend. Yeah, those are great songs. But the Boxer. Scarborough Fair, great. Paul Simon's such a good guitar player. Came up with so many great guitar hooks like that. Even the Beatles, with like Dear Prudence or Blackbird is kind of the classic thing. I must have taught Blackbird 200 different students. Dear Prudence, I probably taught to 100 different students. I'm trying to think of the top songs. What's funny is I've been driving myself crazy. I wanted to do a top, I just saw Rick Beato did 10 perfect albums with his friend, and so I should do one of those with Alex. He picks 5 and I pick 5, and we should do that. But the thing I was going to do was my 10 most influential records, like the 10 records that really influenced me heavily, musically and guitar-wise. And they're not albums you would naturally think. Some of them are obscure-ish records, but many of them are like kind of syrupy artists like John Denver and Seals and Crofts, but they got me into music. I liked their music and I got into it. And John Denver was the first concert I ever went to. I think I was 13 years old and I looked exactly like a young John Denver at the time. Not intentionally either, just kind of what I looked like. But so I went to my record collection and I wanted to pull those records. Like one of them was George Benson's Breezin'. Right? A huge record for me. Now, I want to do another video. I want to do a video called the record that killed jazz, because that record killed jazz, and I'm sure I've talked about that here before. But I couldn't find it. I'm like, no, Emma wouldn't take. Why would she? In fact, I'm pretty sure she didn't take any of her records back to school, like any of my records. She finds records all the time. She's found Beatle records for $1 at thrift stores, like all the time. She's finding stuff like that. But I'm like, so she went and then it was like, what's another? I was thinking, this record, Mr. 335, or Room 335 by Larry Carlton. Huge influence on me. Can't find it anywhere. Steely Dan Asia. Where the heck is it? So what I apparently did was, I thought about this before, I guess like a year or two ago. I thought, I should do a video of my 10 most influential records. And I must have pulled them, and I can't find them anywhere. I mean, the only reason I want them is so I can hold them up and say, look, I still have this record. That's how influential it was. I can't find those stupid records. I've torn this house apart. I don't know where I put them. It's like, what the heck? So I'm like, I haven't torn the house apart. That's what's coming. That's what I'm going to do today, probably. I'm going to go through, because as I was going through my entire record collection, which is we've got this giant bookcase in our, library, and it's the whole bottom of it is albums, and then my daughter has a whole thing of albums in her room, and some of them are mine, but she didn't take them away out of the house with her. She just likes listening to them, and she's got really eclectic taste in music. She loves one of her favorite. Who's the jazz singer that played trumpet too? Not Louis Armstrong. Well, she loves Louis Armstrong. But My Funny Valentine. What's his name? A friend of mine was MD for him for years. A great Brazilian keyboard player, Enrique Pantoja, was his MD, and I can't think of his name. But anyway, somebody will come up with it. I think he died of a drug overdose. But he looked to be pretty old for a jazz musician. White guy. Also, I'm pretty sure he's a white guy. Anyway, she loves him. But I couldn't find these records, but as I was going through all my record collection, trying to find these records, I realized that there were I found 10 other records. Oh, this is a great record. Oh, like the John Denver record or the Seals and Cross. Oh, that was a huge influence on me. Oh, and I was, shoot. Don't Take Me Alive. Yeah, Larry's such a great guitar player. I mean, one of the best solos of all time is Kid Charlemagne, which is on not Katie Lied. What's Kid Charlemagne on? What album is that? But Asia, just something about Asia really just resonated with me, and it was a connecting with when I played it for my dad. He'd never heard it, and he really liked it. And my dad was a drummer, and Steve Gadd is such a great drummer, and my dad was very impressed with Steve Gadd's drumming on the title cut Asia. No, Asia doesn't have Kid Charlemagne on it. Shoot, what album is that? The B-side was Green Earrings. Royal Scam. Somebody say that? Royal Scam is the album. It was the album before Asia. And the one before that was Katie Lied, which also was very influential. I got that Katie Lied record. I think one of the first guitar solos I ever learned was off of that record. Katie Lied. I'm trying to remember what song it was. Yeah, thank you, Bob. You actually thought of it before I figured it out, but the lag betrayed us. Oh, hey, Corey's on the house. Hey, Corey. Corey's working on the bar chords. Hopefully, thanks, Holly, for keeping tabs on that. Yeah, bar chords are a challenge. One of the things that can help is if you play them on electric, try to get an electric, put light strings on it, start bar chords up high. The frets are closer together, and then just start moving down. If you can play at the 7th fret, you might be able to play at the 6th and the 5th, and then you just get the feel for it. Take your hand off, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it on, put it off a million times. Just keep doing that. You can do it while you watch TV, and just like this, and then put the chord on, and go like this, and make the chord again, and then keep doing it. And try to get every string to ring out pretty, and work your way down, and then do the same thing. Then once you get it down on an electric guitar, you get that F chord in first position. Then you can pick up an acoustic and do the same thing and start working your way down. And it's really more. It's just like finding that the placement of fingers, the angle of your hand, the angle of your elbow, your body. It's all the ergonomics involved. It's amazing how much when I do this, and if I bring my arm out here, it's almost impossible. If I bring it way in here, it's maybe a little easier, but it's like, look how much the elbow affects my hand by moving my elbow around. So, and then my wrist position can also affect a lot, you know, and my thumb position, you don't want it up here. You can't bar with your thumb up here. You can't keep your fingers straight and get your fingers position if you're holding the guitar neck is like a baseball bat. So it's all those things that kind of need to come together. It's kind of one of the things, the first time it'll happen, you'll be like, wait, did I just do it? And then you're like, shoot, and then you can't make it happen again for the next 10 times. And then what it happens is like every 10th time, and that happens every 5th time, and then every 4th time, 3rd time, 2nd. And then it pretty much every time you grab a bar chord, you got it. It sounds great. So that's kind of what happens. That's true of so many things. Golf swings, you know, that one when you finally hit that perfect, you know, because they give you 400 things to think about. I hated taking golf lessons because it was like, okay, keep your head down, keep your shoulders, tilt keep your left arm straight, put your pinky through their finger, blah blah blah. Don't hold the grip too tight, you know. Spread your legs and keep your knees apart, blah blah blah. You know, aim your feet. And it's like, really. All these, it's just like this checklist. Hold on, let me get a piece of paper out, you know, put it on the ground, and it's like, you know, 18, 19, 20 bullet points there. And so sometimes it feels like that. But once you have the swing down and you hit, you know, straight 300 yards every time like I do, I do not. But once you do, you know, that, you know, I can hit an F chord 300 yards every time. Let's put it that way. Oh yeah. See, you know, Bob, that was one of the reasons I stopped playing golf, because it hurt my fingers. I couldn't, and it wasn't because I was holding it too tight. It was almost probably because it was too loose. The club was like doing weird stuff to my hands, and I didn't like it. So. Yep. Oh, you still live too? What time is it? Oh, it is. It's been 2 hours. Oh, I didn't even notice that, Gary. Isn't that funny? I get to the hour point and I'll be like, okay, well, let's chit chat, and then I'll come back to the lesson a little bit and back and forth. It's horrible lesson planning on my part. It's like you literally have to watch 2 hours to get like a 30-minute lesson. That's what the thumbs down was for. I guarantee it. It's like, I didn't come here for this. So, but yeah, 98%. So almost 100% likes. Did I get to 50? Oh, I did. 50 likes, and I got $20. Thank you so much. Lena and John, that's a real blessing. I really appreciate it. It helps me get my numbers back up, because the numbers were good when I first, you know, when I first started. Of course, I was doing 7 days a week. So if I was on here 7 days a week, I'd probably make, you know, the money I was making before. But I can't really justify spending that much time here. But Monday we're going to start talking about Next Monday we're going to start talking about songwriting. Hey, Salvador. Yeah, exactly. Salvador, I agree with that. I mean, Holdsworth is actually one of the records of my top 20 records, influential, was probably IOU. I mean, maybe it was a Jean-Luc Ponty record where I first heard Holdsworth, or UK. But the IOU record, I listened to that a lot, and I kind of played like him for a little bit, but I didn't. Yeah, the music is. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you. I don't know how old you are, Salvador, or if you're in America, but I went to see Alan Holdsworth in Phoenix back in 1984. I think it was 83 or 84. I moved here in 83. Yeah, it was probably 83, 84, something like that. I saw Alan Holdsworth live in Phoenix, and I'm sitting there in the audience, and I'm watching this thing, and it was so futuristic sounding. And I'm not just talking about sonically, because he was playing guitar. He wasn't playing his synth guitar. So it was still, when he went to the syntax, he lost me, okay? Same thing with Pat Metheny. I stopped listening to Pat Metheny when he went to syntax. I'm like, yeah, I mean, part of it was, because I was a guitar player and I wanted to hear guitar. Maybe now I would dig it more because I would be more interested in what he was compositionally coming up with, improvisationally. But when I was sitting there in the audience, and it was a pretty small club, maybe 200-300 people, and Alan was doing his thing, and I think it was Paul Williams was a singer, was there, not that Paul Williams, different Paul Williams, and I don't think it was John Wetton on bass. I forget who was on bass and drums. Maybe Gary Husband was on drums. I mean, just unbelievable musicianship. Unfreaking believable. But it was a total flashback to watching Star Trek when Spock jammed with his band. And it was like this, and he's playing this weird instrument and the other people are playing. I don't know if you remember that scene, but Spock is jamming with a band. And it was like, I went back and because when you're a kid and you're watching Star Trek and you see that and you're like, that's the future of music. That's what music's going to be like, in 500 years. And it's like, I'm sitting in an Alan Holdsworth concert and I'm going, oh my God, it is the future. It was the future of music. That's exactly what I'm listening to right now. It was kind of that place, that they went. And so, yeah, so I agree. I mean, and the thing is, I'm a huge, growing up, getting into studio work and guitar players, and LA guitar players in particular, I was a huge Lee Ritenour fan and Larry Carlton fan. Well, very quickly I realized Larry was a better soloist and Ritenour was a better songwriter. Not songwriter, but a piece writer. Carlton's music was kind of boring, but his soloing was so good. And then Lee Ritenour's music was just fascinating. But his soloing, which I always liked his soloing, I never understood it. It didn't sound like a guitar player soloing, which was probably his intent. But he had he always has had kind of an odd approach to guitar. Now that he plays jazz stuff, it's like smooth jazz stuff and Brazilian things and stuff like that, South American type music. Well, Brazilian mostly. It's a little bit easier for me to understand. But for some reason I just didn't resonate with his guitar soloing chops as much as his beautiful compositions. I thought his compositions were really cool. So, yeah, Alan Holdsworth. Yeah, the music's just okay, but his playing, and I met him a few times. I see him at the NAMM show and talked to him a little bit and stuff. And when I first met him, I shook his hand and I went out and literally my hand disappeared. You couldn't see my hand. His hands were so big, which explains a lot. Because remember, violin's tuned in fifths. So when you play a scale in violin, you do something like this. Well, I'll play it up here, maybe you stay in one position, but you do four notes per string, right? But he would do that. He played violin before he played guitar, so he would play his scales. Oh, thank you, Baby J. He would play his scales like that, and just major, minor diatonic scales. He would play like that, and I couldn't. So you couldn't even imitate him because there's just no way you're going to be able to get that down because your hands aren't big enough. So, anyway, for the 15th time, we're changing, the ship is changing directions on Monday. We're going to talk about songwriting. And I hope it's a really popular series because I think it's the first series I will have taught that you could actually, that we're going to have some show and tell potentially, okay? And maybe I will write a song or two as we go. I wrote all those songs we do. If you go back and do the bluegrass thing, I wrote original songs that worked on different things, right? Remember that? Different scales. And so I wrote songs that were founded in those scales. And in that, so if you go back to the bluegrass series I did, earlier this year, I think, or it may have happened over the Christmas break, over the New Year's break, but there's lots of songs. They're all up on Discord. So join the Discord. The link is right there. Join it. All those PDFs are up there, so you can download them and print them and have them. You don't even need to download them. You can just print them, or you don't need to print them. You can just download them. And you can play along with what we did. Also, I tend to write them straight ahead over the simple blues jam. I mean, the bluegrass jam kind of thing. I think I did that. Yeah, that heart is pretty creepy. A little tail wagging. I'm a little worried now. Now I'm concerned. Man. So, Yeah, the sticker options were limited. That's all right. I don't know if I can change that. The stickers is kind of a new thing. I turn those on, so that's something I can turn on and off. So if it really creeped me out, I just turn them off. But I'm fine with the stickers. So yeah, exactly, Holly. Or the golfing thing. Yeah, so I took a real official lesson once, and it was okay, And like I said, I came out of it with a million things to think of. Well, then I had a guitar student that wanted to take me golfing because he was 17. He was on his high school team, and he was a scratch golfer at 17. He was freaking good. And so he wanted to take. He goes, well, I'll take you out. I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll give you one trick to work on, and it'll help. And I'll be darned if that kid didn't. So what he did was, he just set me up. He just told me the same thing. Keep your head down. Move from the hip or whatever. And I think we did the finger picky thing. I can't remember. Maybe, yeah, I think that's something you do. And no hold the club too tight. The basic stuff. Like don't stress. But he goes, here's what I want you to do. And so he put a club straight out from my side, direct 90 degrees off of like I'm facing this way, 90 degrees this way. Put a club straight out, right in front of me on the ground, in front of where I'm going to, right, like 3 feet beyond where I'm going to hit the ball. Okay. Then he put another club on the other side of, the mat where you're hitting. Put another club on the other side, right, of that same, just like parallel with it, okay? And then he not bent it, but he turned that club 45 degrees open, okay? So I have this basically like this, although like this, all right? So straight here and a 45-degree angle. And he said, just keep your head of the club in between those 2 points. Don't come inside this one. Don't go outside that one. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. And he just takes some swings without the ball and just practice doing it. Yeah, okay, all right. So he starts putting balls on there. Okay, now hit it. I smacked that thing like 150 yards straight as an arrow. I hit another one, 100 yards, 150 yards. Just like ball after ball was just going straight off the tee. I was like, dude, that's like insane. So I would literally go play golf and I'd put 2 clubs on the ground for the tee off. People would be looking at me like, what the heck are you doing? I said, I'm sorry. I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but it actually helped me. But like I said, it started to hurt my hands and I was like, yeah. It's like water skiing is the same thing. Oh, John McLaughlin. John McLaughlin, I don't know if he still does it, but he would still practice 8 hours a day. I don't know if you watched I'm a huge Pat Metheny fan too. I'm a huge John McLaughlin fan. But Pat Metheny, he practices or he warms up for 4 hours before every show, and it shows. As soon as from the first note to the last note of the entire show, he's flawless. He's ready to go, full speed. It's like, whoa. Yeah, that's some serious dedication. He's very dedicated to his audience. That says he's very dedicated to his audience, right? He doesn't want to rip them off, and I think that's really huge. He also has never had a drink. He's never done drugs. He's like the cleanest living. Except I know. Well, I don't want to say it, but anyway, he has other vices, but I'm not going to go into detail. But. Anyway, so I think maybe next Saturday, I think Walter is going to come over and we're going to watch Spinal Tap. He's never seen Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. If you've never seen This is Spinal Tap, you might not get it if you're not a musician. But if you're a musician or you've done any touring at all, and you watch this movie, you'll be like, oh, it should be funny. I don't know. Some people just don't like that kind of humor, but it's very improvisational. It's very dry. It's a mockumentary. This is Spinal Tap is the name of it. It's literally top 5 movie for me. A lot of cussing, so be prepared for that. Yeah. Oh, does Mick do that? Does Mick really warm up a lot before the show? Yeah. I mean, clearly when he gets out there, he's like, but I don't know if I would spend 4 hours doing exercises before going to a show at 80 years old. I think he might have a heart attack. But Okay. Well, listen, I'll see you guys on Monday. I'm looking forward to the new series, and we'll start that, and we'll start maybe doing some songwriting. But we're going to talk about the hows and things like that. Okay.